Yeah.
So today, I felt extremely old. Like it hit me. So I'm from Hawaii. I grew up in Hawaii my whole life. And today someone came in and I was setting up their account. And anytime someone has an account and they have a phone number that starts with 808, that's the area code for Hawaii. So if they look like they're in the military, I don't bother because that makes sense. But if they're not in the military, I'll ask them like, oh, what island are you from? And this younger couple was in today, and they're like, oh, we're from the Big Island. And I'm like, no way, me too. And I found out they went to the same high school as me. And they're like, oh, what graduating class were you? And I said, 2015. And they're like, oh, and they look at me like I'm ancient. Which, I am. And then they say, oh, yeah, we're a class of 2021.
Yeah. Damn.
And
6 years later.
Yeah. And that's so weird. Like they were 12 when I was graduating. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's weird how time works like that.
Yeah, just, so that made me actively, because I'm sure you see people day to day, but you are from around here. Mm-hmm. So it's way weirder for me because I'm like, that's a long way away.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't like that. And then me and because a lot of my coworkers are the exact same age as me, at least the ones that I talk to a lot. Mm-hmm. And I walked up to one of them, I'm like, hey, our 10-year class anniversary is in 3 years. I was like, that's because you were class of 2016, right?
I was,
okay.
Yes.
We're the same age, but
yeah,
you just started after, right?
I was born 5 days too late into October, and they told me I had to wait a year to go to school, which is kind of fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But so I was one of the older kids of my class.
Woo! They're like, oh, look at Thomas, he's so old and cool.
No, I was short, so nobody thought I was.
Like, look at him, he's a little fellow.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Screen Weens, where we contemplate mortality and our dyingness.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about The Bag today, which is something that we pull from and we take things that are horrible that we decided to punish ourselves with. Both of the things that were in there were Thomas's picks, Going Overboard and Unplanned.
Yes.
Before we even get into anything, I guess trigger warning for abortion stuff. I know it's sensitive subject right now. It was not an intentional pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we put our options in the bag before they even leaked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. No, that was months and months ago. Mm-hmm. So yeah, timely thing to talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be a rough one to talk about. But before that, we're going to talk about what else we've been doing this week, how we've been. Why Thomas refuses to grow out his mutton chops. Especially with that face, you look great when you're...
Oh, yeah.
Thomas, how you been? What have you been up to?
I've been doing alright. Been Star Wars in this week.
Star Wars. Oh, yeah, you watched Obi-Wan.
I did.
You liked it. You liked it more than me.
I did. Yeah, I definitely think it has its flaws. Yeah. Particularly, what's the second sister's name? Reva?
Reva?
Particularly with her character, and then I read some behind the scenes stuff, and I'm like, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Because I was with her for 2/3 of the show, and then the last couple episodes happened, and I was like, something went wrong there. Mm-hmm. This feels rushed and weird.
Yeah.
And it turns out rewrites and reshoots. So it's okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I like her. I like what they're going for with her character, quite a bit. And I really like her performance. I thought it was, but I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
And I felt similarly about another thing, which is technically a spoiler because it's the last thing they show in the show. I felt like that didn't satisfy me. I would have liked that. It's the very last thing. Okay. I won't spoil it, but it maybe involves some,
dancing.
Sure.
Dancing?
But, yeah, I thought that one plotline...
Oh!
Yes.
My boy?
Yes.
Oh, it's funny.
Because they set it up early on, and I'm like... I figured it would become relevant, like, partway through the story, where it would maybe fuel him, but instead it's like an after thing, and it's like... Yeah, it just felt like a strange placement for that.
Yeah. No, and it's just like, I think in general my issues was it just doesn't feel like it needs to be a movie or a show. Like it could have been, and it was originally supposed to be a movie, like, and it feels that way. It's like, okay, we gotta just make this a show. And I really, really am annoyed at a lot of the settings of it. Like, I like Coruscant, I like Tatooine, and it's like, and now we're in Dark Rocks.
Yeah, I almost wonder if having Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back, like, sunk the budget to where it... Because, like, to my understanding, the other Star Wars series do not look as bad as this one does.
No, they look good. And
okay.
So...
No, like, this one has its moments, but, yeah, a lot of the time it felt just kind of, like, uninspired.
Like, I like the Coruscant stuff. I like the first 2 episodes look in general. And then, which is really annoying because the like last planet they're on, that like rock planet, that rock moon. I love that episode. I think that episode's like incredible. But I'm just like, why the fuck are they? That's fair. That's fair. I think that's the most consistently I thought the show was like great. Because I probably enjoyed the whole show, but I think that last episode really kicked it in high gear for me. There are some things I don't like in it.
Yeah, I almost felt like they were just trying to, not that they were just trying to, but the cynical side of me had a hard time being like, man, it just really seems like they really wanted to remake that Rebel scene with Ahsoka and Vader. It just in live action for the people who refuse to watch the Clone Wars and the Rebels because they cartoons. Honestly, so many people are missing. I know so many people who are like diehard Star Wars fans, but refuse to watch Clone Wars.
My mother, I called her the other day, and she was like, because she really likes like Mando and Obi-Wan and stuff. And I was talking about the Ahsoka show, and she's like, yeah, where is she from? I'm like, oh, the Clone Wars. And she's like, the cartoon? But she started watching it.
Yeah, it's good. Once you get past that initial just like change of style, and obviously it'll have childish episodes here and there because it is aimed at like at least a tween age demographic. But there's some dark and political stuff in there. Like, it's good TV.
Yeah, I agree. And my mother watches like a ton of TV. Like, she's always watched a lot of TV. Like, I've been a movie person. She watches a lot of TV. So I was like, might as well, because even like, I don't think the Clone Wars is, like, ever really, like, actively bad. Like, there are episodes that I'm like, I don't care for, but it's like, this is fine.
Yeah. No, I think the most actively bad Clone Wars had ever been was their theatrical outing.
Which I still, like, kind of enjoy. Probably because I like Rada. I think he's ugly and weird. I love ugly slug man.
Yeah, I think that is what kept me from watching the Clone Wars from so long, because I went and saw it in theaters when I was a kid, and I was like,
what a lot of dookie!
I was like, I don't like that. Then I never watched the show. So I remember catching Bombad Jedi on TV one time, and I was like,
that is cinema.
I was like, that was a pretty interesting episode. And I never watched any more of it until probably when did I start? Like a couple years now. Still haven't finished it. Got the final season. Still gotta watch. But oh well.
Okay, and then so you were watching Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I watched Obi-Wan. Matt hadn't watched any Star Wars in a long time, so we started the original trilogy. We watched New Hope and Empire.
Good movies.
We might watch Return tonight, depending on what time I get back. But yeah.
I like Star Wars.
Yeah, then I've been playing some Lego Star Wars, not the new one, the old one.
They're all good.
Yeah. I'll probably play the new one after. It's just the old one's quicker, and it's the one I grew up with.
Yeah, that's fair.
Play. And then I've been playing through Fallen Order, and I've gotten significantly farther than I've ever gotten in that game before. I'm currently in the Zepho Ice Caves.
Oh, okay.
So I'm back there. I just wrapped up the first part of Kashyyyk where we saw Saw.
Saws and everything!
Yeah.
I hope we see more Saw and Andor. I hope Saw just keeps fucking showing up.
Yeah, that'd be neat, because it's been a long time since I've watched Rogue One. I only saw it once in theaters, and I remember being very not into it just because I felt like every character was a plank of wood that I had no investment into. But I'm hoping seeing Saw in this, and I know he's in like Bad Batch.
Well, he's in Clone Wars. He's really young in Clone Wars. That's where he's like introduced. Would he be in the first 5?
Yeah.
They have his sister and him are leading like a rebellion against the droids, and she dies in that episode. I guess spoiler for the Clone Wars, a single episode arc. I think it was just 1 or 2 episodes. And that's when he like starts kind of losing it. He's like, I'll keep fighting for you. So he's in that. He shows up in Rebels, and then he's in Rogue One, and he's in Jedi Fallen Order. He's just like, he's everywhere.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember him in the Clone Wars. I must have not taken a mental note of him.
He looks vastly different too.
Yeah, I might not have even remembered the name, because, I mean, it's not like I was like, Saw Gerrera from Star Wars. In my head, I was always like Forrest Whitaker, so.
This is what he looks like in Clone Wars.
He looks familiar, so I've definitely seen the episodes. I definitely need to do like a highlight or a certain rewatch of certain episodes.
Yeah.
I really want to rewatch the Mandalore Maul stuff in particular, because that so good.
Cool.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Well, I haven't done any Star Wars stuff. Actually, I've been listening to Plagueis still, the audiobook for that. It's still fine. I like parts of it a lot, and other parts I'm like, this is annoying. I really like how Sheev talks in the audiobook. He's like, oh, master. But he also doesn't go by Sheev, which is really annoying. He goes by Palpatine. I'm like, but Sheev's a funnier name.
Yeah.
It's more akin to Star Wars. But what else did we do? We finished Miss Marvel. I don't think I talked about it last, or because it's been like a week and a half. Bad. I would say overall bad.
Damn.
I think I really like the first 2 episodes, and then I think it really hits like, I like what they're going for a lot. Like a lot, but I just don't think they do it very well. I think a lot of the acting's not great. I think the show doesn't look very good. The effects are bad. I don't like the change to her powers. I don't like the script around her and her family. It just doesn't feel very... it just feels half-baked. I think the final episode's pretty good for the most part. So I think the first 2 and the final episode, but then the other episodes just aren't very good. So maybe you'll feel different if you eventually watch it.
Yeah, Matt was talking about wanting to watch through the Marvel series and stuff, so we might kind of slowly start to trudge our way through that. But
there's a bunch of comic movie news that we'll probably talk about in a second too.
Yeah, I might have seen that.
Once I finish talking about my week, I watched a movie called The Setup, which is a Robert Wise movie, the guy who did like Star Trek 1 and like Sound of Music, West Side Story. It's like an hour and 10 minutes. It's a little like boxing movie about his managers like setting him up to fail. But they think he's so bad, they're like, we don't even need to tell him. And then he learns about it and he wins.
Nice.
It's good. It's really good. It's nice and light and fast and tight. Just how I like them. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I've been trying to watch more older movies again because I feel like I have Criterion Channel. I'm like, there's so many good movies on here.
Mm-hmm.
Just sometimes like, I don't know if I'm in the mood for it. I also watched a little documentary called The Image You Missed, which is about like Ireland's like the Troubles and stuff, and it's about this guy who is going through archive footage of his father, who was also a documentarian, but who kind of abandoned his family, like, for this cause. And it was talking about, like, political responsibility versus personal responsibility and his own feelings on, like, hey, he was probably, like, doing the right thing. He was doing good for, like, the world, but where do I fit in on this? How should I feel? It was good. I enjoyed it quite a lot. And then we rewatched the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, which I think is really good. I think the first movie's really good. I think the third movie's really good. But I think the second movie is, like, actually incredible.
I think I may have only ever seen the first one. I may have caught half of the second one in passing at one point, because I remember at least bits and pieces of it, because that's the one with, like, the white dragon, right?
The third one's the one with the white dragon. We were working in the theater together when that was out. Okay. So you probably would walk and go, I hate cartoons.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I really enjoyed rewatching those. And then Hinatea's old college friend was in town for like a night because he's road tripping. Mm-hmm. So he stayed over. And we watched RRR again, which is the new Rajamouli movie from the guy who did Bahubali, which I was talking about how RRR is, like, incredible when I first watched it. It's still so good. I really, really vibe with that movie. Man, I watched a lot of stuff. I watched Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which is an old, like, Marilyn Monroe movie. Mm-hmm. And I haven't really seen anything with Marilyn Monroe before.
Yeah.
She's delightful.
Yeah.
She's very fun. I really like her presence on screen. She's very funny. Like, I didn't expect that, but she's very funny. And the movie in general is funny. It's just like, we hate men. And we're like, yeah!
Huh. Interesting.
And then that same day, I went and saw the new Jordan Peele movie, Nope.
Yeah, how was that?
I thought it was great. I think maybe I want to rewatch all three. I have a feeling I'll like Get Out about the same. I have a feeling I might like Us a little less this time around. And I have a feeling the next time I watch Nope, I'll like it more. It seems like a movie I'll like on the second watch more.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I remember not being super crazy about Us. I felt like it was a little out there as a concept for me personally.
I like the concept. I just feel like the final execution of the last couple scenes just kind of start to fall apart a little bit, for me at least.
Yeah, and then Get Out's like fucking great. I love Get Out.
But I'm meaning to. I think I'll probably just pick all three for the podcast once it comes out to like streaming or DVD. So I know you don't like to walk to the theater.
Yeah, I'm not super into going and seeing movies.
And what else? I'm almost done, promise. I watched the Jackie Robinson story, which is a biopic.
It's 42, right?
The 42 is a remake of this movie.
I know. I'm meaning he was the number 42, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. I'm not super well versed on baseball.
The movie 42 is a remake of this biopic from like 1950, but that one has Chadwick Boseman, and this one has Jackie Robinson playing himself, which is fun. I think that's very like a fun little gimmick. The movie's really bad, though. I thought it was just awful. I thought it was a really bad movie. It was like, I thought the structuring was really bad, but I mostly was like, they kept putting on like 5 minutes of just baseball games, but they were like badly shot, and I don't care about baseball, and they were just really, really boring. So it's like, it's fun to see Jackie Robinson play himself. He's also not very good at acting, but yeah, not very good. And then we watched It again. The first one, not the original one.
2017.
Yeah. Because I remember really, really enjoying both of them. I haven't
seen part 2.
I know I remember liking part 2 a lot, but I know a lot of people weren't.
Shit on it.
Yeah. So I think we're probably going to watch it like Wednesday just because it's like 3 hours long. The first movie's only like 2 and 20 minutes, and the second one's longer because they're adapting more.
One of these days we'll do a big It episode where we cover all the Its.
But I think my main issue with it, the 2017 one, is I think it's really, really good, but I don't think there is enough there. Like, it feels like there's so many character moments missing from the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that makes sense. It is adapting half of a 1,200-page book.
And hardly at that. I mean, there are things that correlate in it for sure. Like, but it's really not a good adaptation. As someone who's read most of the book, I have not read. I was listening to the audiobook when I worked at the casino, and I got all the way to the final part, and I was like, I don't know if I want to listen to it, like the child orgy part while I'm working. And then I just never gotten to the point where I was like, I want to listen to that part when I'm not working either. So I never finished the book, but I can say the parts of the book that I read, fantastic. And there's so many great things in the book and like so many great characters, but these aren't the characters. Like they really mix it around. Okay. Like there are some characters who get it really bad, like Ben. He I don't really care what they do with his character in the book, and they like kind of mix around like their hobbies and stuff, and I don't know. It's strange.
So you don't like Ben in the book? Is that what you said?
No, I like them all in the book.
Oh, okay.
I don't really care much for him in the movie.
I remember when I first watched it, I liked Ben as a character a lot, but this time I'm just like, this is fine. I like most of the characters. I like all the kid actors a lot. I think they have fun group presence. Yeah.
To me, it felt like it was just kind of riding the coattails of Stranger Things and wanted to like kind of be like, oh wow, 80s like children cast or in tribute to like things like the Goonies and shit. Like that's real big right now. We got to do something like that. And I think that they still could have done that, but I think I would have. It is a story that works so well in the 1950s. Cause like,
it was the 50s, wasn't it?
Yeah, they aged it up. So like a bunch of the shit that happens in the book is like weirdly modern in the movie, and just kind of
because they wanted the newer version to be present
modern
day.
Yeah.
Which I get it. And most of the ideas, I get where they're coming from when they're adapting it. And that's why I do think the movie is good. Like, at least I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, but I feel like watching it, I'm like, man, I gotta read this book.
Yeah, I think you really should.
It's just,
it's big.
Sitting down to read a 1,200-page book, I'm like,
yeah.
Especially because I haven't been too hot on Stephen King's writing, like, from what I've read.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try to find some ones that are known to be good, but, like, are smaller, like novellas or something. Yeah,
I'd honestly recommend trying out. I guess this is technically not a novella, but The Shining is a pretty good one.
Yeah, and that's, like 300? That's
300
sure,
pages.
Like, I can do it.
It might be actually in the 500 range, now that I think about it.
Even still, that's less than half of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stephen King's one of those authors. I've always described him as a guy who just throws shit at the wall. And when reading any Stephen King story, you're going to be weeding through a lot of shit. But some of it sticks to the wall, and what sticks pretty good. So it's like, yeah. A lot of diamond in the roughs with his writing.
And then I watched, there's a new documentary limited series called Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey, which is about the FLDS church and marrying underage girls and cult shit. I'm conflicted because I think the stories in it are important. I think there's a lot of like survivor stories in it that I think are really important, but I feel like they pad out each episode with just stories from like the guy from the next town over that was like, and I knew something was up. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about this. It also just feels really tonally insensitive to these stories when they're sandwiched between just random, like, redneck dudes that have no, like, bearing on this story. So I think there's a good documentary movie that's, like, 2 hours in that, but it's 3 hours, so there's an hour of just shit. Interesting enough, though. Like, sad. Churches are scary as hell.
What?
Yeah. And then last thing we watched last night is we watched Dread. and I hadn't seen Dredd before. The 2012 one that is directed by Peter Travis, but most people just are like, no, Alex Garland directed that movie. Because they're like, no, he's like, was just not... Yeah. That director was just not there. Have you seen that movie? I think it's really fun. It came out a year after The Raid, and it has the same premise as The Raid. Like, it's just one cop. Well, I guess this one is two cops in a building. They have to get to the top. Which is a fun premise. And I really enjoyed it. I also really like how they do not humanize Dredd as a character at all. They're just like, he's the fucking worst.
I see.
Carl Urban is Judge Dredd in that, and he's fantastic. Carl Urban, I just love. He's great.
Yeah, no, he's a fucking...
He's the one really getting me going for watching more of The Boys. We've only seen those 2 episodes still, but I'm like, yeah, Carl Urban.
Yeah, he's one of the few good ones we still have out there in Hollywood land. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, he might be a dick. I don't know.
As far as I know.
All right. So that's what I watched this week. Let's talk a little bit about movie news before we start. What's up?
I have only 2 other things I watched this week that I forgot to mention. I watched Midsummer's director's cut.
Is it better?
I don't know if I'd say it's better. I think if you don't like the theatrical cut, the director's cut's not going to make much of a difference.
Like, it doesn't add, like, the character stuff I wanted?
No. It adds, like, a couple more... It adds a couple... Okay, there is more character stuff. Like, you see that a lot of the characters are kind of more... Like, maybe this is in the theatrical cut, and I just don't remember it, but there's a couple... scenes where it's like, oh no, like this group of people's like pretty racist towards like the people of color who are like attending this festival. And also there's a scene, they add like new things, like not trials, but like new like rituals or traditions that they have as part of the festival. And I thought those were pretty interesting. Like, I liked some of those scenes. But there's one scene in particular that really perplexed me. And I was like, I don't like the addition of this scene into the narrative. And there's a scene where basically the main character and her boyfriend, like, argue with each other. And she, like, the cat comes out of the bag. Like, basically, like, the things that, like, the audience has been aware of the whole movie, we find out she is also aware of, which... When I'm watching the movie, it seems like she's, like, really in denial of the fact that her boyfriend is such a piece of shit. Or at least trying to be. And, like, having the 2 characters talk about it and then immediately go back to acting like absolutely fucking nothing happened. I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just not reading into it the right way, but I'm thinking I'm firm on my stance with that. But overall, I'd say I like most of the changes, or not really changes, additions into the director's cut. There's really not like, I guess there's like half an hour of extra footage because it's like nearly 3 hours as opposed to the typical 2.5 hour, but it really doesn't feel like that much is added. I think a lot of that extra runtime is that one scene. So, but yeah, I still like it. Not like over the moon about it, but decent horror movie. I think I still like it better than Hereditary, but I haven't rewatched Hereditary at all. So, and I also rewatched Ginger Snaps. Still thought it was fun.
Maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe I was just being a hater that day.
I mean...
But you know how pissed I'll be at myself for rewatching something if I still hate it?
Yeah, you might... you probably would still hate it. I don't know. I mean, it's just a dumb movie. It's just... Yeah,
it's so weird, like for my brain. It's so weird for my brain, like, what dumb do I like? Because some things I do not expect to like, and I'm like, that was dumb.
It's just that you hate women. We all know.
All right, let's talk about movie news, I guess.
Movie news.
The Black Panther trailer dropped.
Oh, did it?
I thought it was really, really good.
Oh, okay.
I think it looks really good. It looks sad.
I don't know what... I haven't kept up with the ever changing behind the scenes drama? What are they doing with it?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I have a feeling that it's going to be kind of about who's going to succeed him. Like, I have a feeling that it's either going to be Winston Duke's character, Lupita Nyong'o's character, or Letitia Wright's character. Like, I think that's what the movie is going to be about. But the trailer looks really good. Namor looks sick. Because Namor's going to be the villain of that one.
Okay.
What else do we get? We got a Shazam trailer, which looks fine.
Shazam is in like Shazam.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shazam 2.
Okay, cool.
That's been in development for a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been a while since that last one was out. Didn't the kid in that movie get like in a bunch of trouble?
Jack Dylan Grazer.
Yeah, the kid who was in it.
Yeah. Apparently not. Apparently it's fine now. But I remember like a year ago, there'd like a bunch of videos came out of him just like casually saying the N-word. And I'm like, at some point, I'm like, he is a child.
Yeah.
But he is a multi-millionaire child.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hopefully he learned his lesson. And
Well, what lesson? Nothing happened to him. That's the thing.
People critiqued him.
He blew up on Twitter for 2 days.
Well, cancel culture doesn't exist. It just doesn't.
I mean, I like, it doesn't do anything. Here's one person I found out who actually got canceled. Armie Hammer. He's working at the Cayman Islands. He works as like a waiter now.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's actually canceled. But that's a cannibal, so.
Yeah, because it's like, outside of that, it's like the only people who actually get canceled are the ones who like go to prison. Like Bill Cosby and Weinstein. Where it's like, yeah, they committed like provable crimes that aren't just, impossible to prove, like something.
Cancel culture in the sense that we should deplatform people, they never actually get deplatformed, which is unfortunate because I do think there are people that should not have their platform.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah. What else came out? So, Comic-Con's been going on. So, Marvel talked about Phase 4 is about to be over?
Oh.
Which I'm like, what the fuck happened? I think Black Panther is going to be the last movie in Phase 4. So, end of the year. Okay. Ant-Man next year is going to be the beginning of Phase 5. Which, I mean, like, that somewhat makes sense, because I do think Ant-Man 1 and 2 both were, like, the end caps, or, like, big chunks of the other two phases.
Yeah.
Or the other phases. And it's going to introduce, like, the main villain of Phase 5. And then they also talked about Phase 6, which only has 3 movies that are announced for Phase 6 right now, which is Fantastic Four, which will be, I think, in November of 2024. Which I'm like, wow, that seems so far away. And I'm like, that's 2 years from now.
Wait, Phase 6 in 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe it's 2020. Yeah, 2024. And then we're getting 2 Avenger movies in 2025. Like 6 months apart. We're getting Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Oh,
so they're just jumping. I mean, I guess maybe it'll feel more built up to maybe.
I mean, they have a lot of stuff coming.
I was gonna say, like, I've missed a lot. I've only seen the 2 Spider-Man movies from this phase, and that's it. So.
I guess most exciting thing I saw was Daredevil is getting a series.
Yeah, I saw.
And it's going to be 18 episodes. Ooh. Which is, I was going to be so annoyed if it was going to be 6. Because I think all of these, honestly, I think all of these shows, if they were going to be shows, could have had a little filler. Yeah. I feel like they're just too, they don't feel like a show. Like they just feel like a really long, kind of boring movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if you're going to use the medium of a show, make it feel like a show.
Yeah, have a big, expansive story that wouldn't fit.
And you have, small little character moments that you wouldn't have in a movie, you can have in a show.
Oh, yeah. Building them up.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out next year. Mm-hmm. Will Poulter looks so jacked. I'm so pumped for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's playing Adam Warlock. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Other stuff got announced. I think those are, like, the main things that were, like, popping to me. Apparently the Spider-Man animated series Tom Holland's not going to voice Spider-Man. I think that's weird.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I mean, most of their series, they've gotten big-name people.
Yeah, but
Tom Holland's too big now.
those are all live action. There's different...
And I Am Groot, the animated series, is still going to be voiced by Vin Diesel.
Well,
that's 6 shorts, though.
Yeah.
And all he says is, I am Groot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cartoons are stigmatized over here.
The Dungeons and Dragons trailer came out for the show. The movie.
Yeah.
Looked better than I was expecting. But I also like it's the 2 that made the Game Night movie, which I thought was fun. So it might actually be good. I think the best part of it, though, is how Hugh Grant is acting on this press junket. Because he's like, I have no idea what the fuck a dungeon or a dragon is, but I am an actor.
Nice.
What a guy.
Yeah. Damn.
I was like, that guy's in Paddington too.
Yeah, that's
His
true.
best role.
Any word on Paddington 3?
Yeah.
Is that coming out? It's
they named it. It's not called Paddington 3. It's called Paddington blah blah blah. Yeah, I know. You can't give
Is it going to be a direct sequel, or is it going to be no, we're just going to do a soft reboot of Paddington now? I really hope not. I hope it's a hard sequel. Because I like that cast. I don't even care if the kids are fucking 30-year-olds now.
Paddington in Peru.
Ah, I see.
And Paul King's not directing it. It probably will not have the same magic.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll probably be it. And maybe it'll still be good, wholesome fun. It just probably won't have the filmmaking craft that the first two, because those movies are fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a lot of good shot composition and just the lighting.
But opening night, I'll be there in my Paddington suit. I'll have the little corduroy jacket on, my little hat.
Excuse me, Theater worker, can I bring in this marmalade sandwich?
Well, no, I won't tell them it'll be in my hat.
Oh, I see.
I will eat a marmalade sandwich in the theater.
Yeah.
Mark my fucking words.
Yeah.
Sorry, we do not sell popcorn anymore. We only sell marmalade sandwiches. Yeah, that's the news. No questions today. So I think I've done enough stalling.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Going Overboard.
With Adam Sandler.
This doesn't feel like a movie.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
I did this play in high school called Attack of the Pom Pom Zombies, and the script is the most just it felt like it was written in the 1950s, and it's just this gross comedy that's not funny, and all the jokes are if there are jokes, they're super obvious, and it's just super lowbrow and low effort the entire time. That's how I felt about this.
It's it's trying to be a no budget meta commentary on comedy, but I don't actually think it is. I think it's just framing itself as that to excuse the badness of it.
Yeah, it's
Adam Sandler is playing a character in the movie.
Yeah.
The way he frames at the beginning, he's this is a movie I made.
Yeah, he's this is a no-budget movie. It takes place on a boat because we had access to a boat and a bunch of beautiful women, so we're going to objectify them the whole movie and, just try to be funny, in which it does not. It never does.
I think the weirdest thing about this movie is watching it is how normal Adam Sandler sounds. Because I feel after a certain amount of time, he just started doing voices. And then he did it so much that it kind of just crept into his regular sound.
Yeah.
And this one, he just sounds like a guy.
Yeah, but he's making a face the entire movie. Just
it's just weird because I think Adam Sandler in these days was funny. And I think even now he's funny. So I'm how does it just feels like he has absolutely zero comedic timing or delivery? I'm how does this work? Even with the worst script, someone can still act funny.
Yeah. No, I think it really just feels like he and everybody else who was making this movie did not want to make this movie. And they were all just kind of phoning in a performance that would be obnoxious and get them a paycheck, maybe. It is bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what this movie... I also watched this a week ago. So he's on the boat.
The movie is... He plays a cruise waiter named Shecky, who wants to be the ship's stand-up comedian. But they got another stand-up comedian who apparently is very funny. He is not, but apparently...
No, he's very funny. The movie told me so. We are just not funny.
Yeah. There's like a line in there where Adam Sandler's like, this guy, all he does is like incest jokes. I mean, even I could do that and it would be funnier than that or whatever. And my mind went straight to like, That's My Boy, which is a movie he made years later that does have incest jokes in it. So it's like...
But I will say, I have not seen That's My Boy. But I can probably guarantee that the incest jokes in there are funnier.
Yeah, I'd say that movie...
Maybe he made that to prove his point he made in Going Overboard.
I'd say that movie maybe minus the intro segment of that movie, which is honestly just fucking disgusting. It's about a kid who sleeps with his teacher. And it's like treated like, yeah! He's sleeping with the hot teacher! And it's like played like that the entire time. And she goes to prison and stuff, but they're still like, yeah, you scored big, bruh! It's like... And then he has a kid who is Andy Samberg, and then he's like... Basically was a shitty rock star father to him, and years later he's trying to like... Basically like come back in his life right as he's getting married to a super rich woman.
That's a good movie?
No. But it's way better than this.
I wish we'd watch that movie.
Yeah. At least that one has Andy Samberg in it. Yeah. And he's got a Beastie Boys tattoo that he got when he was a kid, and it warped on his back as he aged, so they all got big funny heads.
I feel like that matches with the Beastie Boys, though. That works.
Yeah. Their heads, coincidentally, also grew over the years. So... but yes. So he wants to be a stand-up comedian for the ship. And thankfully for him, or fortunately for him, the comedian gets locked in the bathroom.
Idiot. The
entire movie. And then, let's see, what else happens? His girlfriend, who is Miss Australia. Also, I think they just had access to, like, beauty pageant winners. Because, like, randomly throughout the movie, Adam Sandler will be like, this reminds me of this question that I did not force in here. And then they'll like show like all the beauty contestant winners, and they'll basically just be given like their answers that like for questions that they would answer at like a beauty pageant, like what would you do to end world hunger? And they'd be like, oh, I'd do this, like that sort of a question kind of thing. And it's super jarring whenever it happens, and it doesn't happen like constantly throughout the movie. So when it does pop up, it's like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot they were doing shit like this. But Miss Australia says some things about a world leader. I don't know what country this is supposed to be, but I'm sure whatever fucking it is, it's extremely racist because those are white people, right? Yeah. I was like, they're doing like accents and they've got brown face on. It's just
I'm almost certain those were white people.
I'm like 90% sure. It's like, yikes.
And they're like, oh, we're gonna go get them. Yeah. But in a more racist accent.
Yeah, no, it was bad. And they got a lot of screen time.
Yeah. If it was like one cutaway thing, I'd be like, okay, that was rough. But
yeah,
it was like, yeah, they were like more prominent than the other.
They're kind of the main antagonists of the film in a certain aspect. So it's like, I mean, really, the only antagonist of this film is the filming itself. But,
is us.
Yes. But yeah, so
they take over the boat.
There's like a Scooby-Doo chase.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's rough, yeah.
His shirt keeps changing because there was like a line earlier where him and his best friend were like, I like the green shirt. He's like, well, I like the pink shirt. They go back and forth. So when they're running around, his shirt keeps changing. Reminds me of the DDoSer when the hat changed. The hat changing. But yeah, so Yeah, and then he convinces them to do stand-up. And it turns out, I don't know if the crowd's laughing because they've got guns pointed at them, or if they genuinely found these people's jokes funny, but yeah, it was not funny. Bad, fucking basic.
A lot of the jokes in this movie can be categorized as either racism, sexism, or the classic, I hate my wife.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
My wife!
There's also a lot of just, like, what you would expect from, like, a schlocky bad comedian, like, oh, God, I don't know, basic fucking wordplay puns that make you want to blow your brains out. Like, I can't even think of one.
Which is funny because I actually think like random little wordplay puns in real life are funny. Like I think it's dumb and funny, but like going to see a comedian, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I think wordplay, if it's done well enough, like George Carlin did a lot of wordplay, but he clearly was kind of like more transformative than just doing like he'd point out like language and how it works and stuff. Mm-hmm. Kind of play with it in an organic way, but like when it's just like simple jokes like I felt like smoking crack, so I lit a sidewalk on fire or something. I don't fucking know.
That's a good one. You should be a comedian.
I should.
Yeah, Thomas.
As long as you promise to come to every one of my sets and laugh very loud.
Sounds like a car stone. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was watching this and I was just like, what the fuck? And then it'd do an ad break because I was watching it on Tubi because I didn't want to fucking pay for it.
It was free on YouTube, so I was like...
Oh, I should have watched it.
But it also had ad breaks.
Probably not as many, because Tubi, I think, was probably every 10 minutes. And I'd be like, oh, God. And then I'd pause it after that break. I'm like, let's see how much time
Yeah, there was a point where I felt like I was permanently at like 37 minutes into the movie. And like every time I'd pull it up, there'd still be like roughly about like, I'd only be roughly more or less than half an hour in. And I was just like, no. But that was, I mean, this movie was a fucking cakewalk compared to the next one.
Yeah, no, like, and it's just
I've watched this 3 times.
I'm probably technically going to give both of them the same score.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing is with this movie, you could say, like, it's damaging in the sense that, like, it hurts my head, but also that, like, making racist and sexist jokes does, like, normalize, like, this behavior, and it is theoretically dangerous. And I would agree with that argument in some cases.
Yeah.
But I think the next movie we're going to be talking about is, like, horribly dangerous.
Yeah, no, it had an agenda.
And it has, like, empirical proof that it's horribly dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, cool. Yeah, I would watch this movie 100 times in a row before I watch fucking Unplanned again.
Yeah.
Unplanned... I guess we're... Let's finish going overboard. I don't like this movie.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And Adam Sandler, I think, also fucking hates this movie.
Fair. I'm going to get a copy of this and have him sign it one day.
He'll probably just look you straight in the face and be like, fuck you.
I'm going to tell him, I'm going to go like, you should have the Softy Brothers do like a sequel to this with you. Where you like wake up in a hospital, but it's like the hospital bed and you're still stuck on the fucking boat.
Yeah, it's
like, it's not real. It's in your head. You made the boat up.
I want to be a stand-up comedian.
It's going to be about Adam Sandler himself, but he like gets isekai'd into the world of going overboard. And he has to, and they're going to use CGI to de-age him, and he has to act alongside himself to make the movie better. This is a good idea for a movie. I'd watch this shit.
They should make a Sandler-verse movie where it's just like all the different Sandlers coming together.
To fight going overboard Sandler.
They all have to fight to win the click remote.
Now that's a movie.
Yeah. You would give this a 1.
Yeah. You would also?
I guess.
It's like, it's not a movie. It's nothing. It's just like, nothingness. You're just watching nothing.
This would be like if the DDoSer was an hour and 37 minutes, but way worse. Because at least we would try and make the DDoSer like
well, when we made the DDoSer, I think it's dumb, and I think it's like kind of bad, but intentionally so. I think it's fun.
Yeah, we weren't setting out to make Citizen Kane.
Yeah. If we made an hour-and-a-half movie, even with no budget, things would happen.
Yeah, we would.
Conversations would occur.
Yeah.
We wouldn't just go, Ayabuda. Actually, even that would be better. Just if instead, like, he couldn't understand. Here, I've made the movie significantly better. He's like, I just can't understand what people see in this comedian. Like, when I watch him, it doesn't even feel like he's saying words. And he looks at the comedian, and the guy's just like, and everyone's like, yeah!
I mean, yeah, that would at least be, like, some good absurdist humor. Like, but there's none of that. It's like, I don't get it. Why is it so funny?
And that's how he learns to be funny, is he doesn't actually think he's funny. He just starts mimicking, like, and then he does his classic Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Just starts making
I've made Going Overboard a better movie.
Yeah. Honestly, this whole movie would be better if it had zero dialogue.
He doesn't ever go overboard.
No, it's the other comedian that they throw overboard. And it's like,
the one that was stuck, like, dying?
Yeah, he's in the bathroom, and then he comes out, and he's like, they're like, hey, you're supposed to be dead, and they throw him.
And they kill him.
Yeah. Which, that part was kind of funny. I think it would have been funnier if it didn't have him coming out and being an asshole and being like, I want my job back, and then the two guys throw him over. I think it would have just been funny if he had gone up and just, it organically happened that way. But, yeah, I don't know, this movie's shit. Alright. You ready to talk about a movie about murder? This movie converted me into a Christian abortion hater.
Let's talk about Unplanned from the same year. 2019, I think, is some of the best movies I've ever seen. Like, I really love 2019 as a year. It also had Unplanned and LaQuisha.
Coincidence? I think not.
Imagine if we had watched those two in one episode. I would have killed myself.
Yeah. Was it me or you who put...
It was me.
Okay, I was going to say.
That would have been like the
that
ultimate...
seems like something I may have put in, but it wasn't.
But, so Unplanned is... I will say this up front. It is talked about as like a true story. 90% of it is fabricated. It's all fucking bullshit. And it's dangerous bullshit, because propaganda films are dangerous. What? So it is about Abby Johnson, who I fucking hate. I hope I see her one day so I can spit in her face. I'm going to be so fucking pissed talking about this movie. Abby Johnson worked at Planned Parenthood for 8 years. She was the clinic director, but one day... the evil doctor says, I need someone to come help me with my abortion. And she's like, oh, I guess I can help. Because they're doing a ultrasound? An ultrasound. I was going to say ultrascan. Ultrasound abortion, where they pretty much need like somebody to be doing the ultrasound so he can see it, and he can use his murder straw to suck the baby out. And she sees this happen, and the baby tries to comically run away from it. This is the only reason this movie is rated R.
Excuse me, sir. That's a real baby, and that's baby murder, and it was running for its life, and that's not funny.
So here's first thing. This was a 13-week baby. So they had to use the ultrasound. This has been like, Planned Parenthood has shown the evidence that's like, there was no 13-week abortion going on at this time. The only person she interacted with that day that she helped with an abortion was like an 8-week one, and they didn't have to use an ultrasound. Of course, PureFlix and Abby Johnson have said, oh, Planned Parenthood is just lying.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a cover-up from the most powerful organization in the world. Or one of the world's most powerful organizations. Planned Parenthood.
Who they need more abortions so they can make money.
Yeah. The non-profit
also, abortions are like, what, $500? what kind of... That's not cheap, but that's also not expensive. They're talking about it in the sense that, like, oh, they're making tons of fucking money from this. I'm like, you have to hire a doctor? A regular doctor visit that takes, like, even, like, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Costs way more. Like, this is not... There's... The amount of money they would make from this is not the fries and the soda, as they later talk about.
Yeah, this movie pisses me off for a lot of reasons. I think... The main thing that upsets me about this movie is that it's just blatant propaganda, but it's like, okay, so it's so one-sided in the fact that it's meant to just mischaracterize this like profession. We follow the main character who honestly in the movie is depicted as a god-awful person. She's a liar. She's indecisive to the point where she causes herself just a bunch of fucking stress. Like, it's like... She
also just lets her people in her life push her around. Like, she's supposed to be this abortion advocate. She's supposed to be this person that, like, helps women's rights. She doesn't care about the fucking people harassing people outside of the house, outside of the fence, because, oh, they were nice to her.
Yeah.
Like, they go so far as to be like, no, they're one of the good ones. Because the other guy, he was yelling. And they're like, these people are doing the coalition for life. I'm gonna beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, and there's like, it's extremely one-sided, like it never even, I mean, clearly it's like I don't know if it's a Pure Flix film.
It is Pure Flix, okay. And this is the first rated R Pure Flix film.
Oh.
And it's just the shock value of that first abortion scene, which is stupid. It's stupid to look at. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Babies, fun fact, fetuses at that old cannot fucking move. They don't do that. They cannot go, ah!
Yeah.
And they cannot feel pain.
Yeah, it's just, this movie fucking sucks. I don't like that it only operates under this one angle where life begins at, fucking conception. It's like, I don't subscribe to that notion, nor do I think any fucking reasonable fucking, like, laws or anything should.
Also, I'm just gonna say it. Even if I was like Christian, if I believed in God, if I believed in the afterlife, if I believed that babies, if they die, what happens? Do they go to heaven? Because if that's the case, that's fine with me. Even if they were like dying for real, like that's them, they're alive in there, and we kill them and they go to heaven. Okay, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Because
let's not ruin if they are forced to live. Let's ruin the child's life and the woman's life? Yeah. Let's ruin a whole family? It doesn't fucking make any sense to me.
No.
Like, I don't... Like, even if they were alive, I would still be pro-life. Pro-abortion. Or pro-choice. No, I'm pro-abortion. Let's do them. All more.
Yeah. I mean...
Mandatory.
Personally, I mean, as insensitive as this sounds... I don't give a fuck. I mean, I give a fuck in the fact that, like, women should have the right to choose, but, like, in terms of, like, abortions, I don't, like, yeah.
It's not up to us.
Yeah, I have no skin in the game. And it's like, you know, honestly, I mean, we're two dudes talking about it, but this movie is so far on the one side that obviously we're going to be talking about it from our point of view. But, it's, I just find it stupid that this movie tries to kind of make it seem like there's someone arguing for counterpoints to this film's stance with the main character, because she's the one who works in the abortion clinic and is kind of like deflecting most of the arguments, but she's no arguments. She's a
fucking pushover.
Yeah, she's a pushover. There's like the scene where the guy's like filming her, and he's like, he does the whole like, well, you see the dehumanization thing.
Yeah, because she's like, you know, you're just like the Nazis. She said something shitty like that. And he's like, well, actually, what they did is dehumanize an entire group that couldn't say anything. And that's what you're doing to unborn babies. I'm like, then what the fuck are you doing to the women? What?
And also, note, I was going to say I love this. I don't actually love this. But I love how we're introduced to this one character who seems like it's going to be her, like, segue from the abortion life to the pro-life life. which is this woman who's standing out there. But then, like, partway through the film, she goes, I'm getting married. And then she gets sidelined to the sidekick. And her husband's, like, the main guy who's helping her from that point on. And I'm like, that just seems clumsy. And also, like, it doesn't help fuel the argument that this is, like, a woman's choice. I mean, you'd think they'd be tossing the fact that it's, like, you know, obviously there are a large amount of women out there who are pro-life and stuff. You think they'd be using those arguments, but...
Well, it's just like...
Instead, they have to get a man's opinion.
It's a propaganda film that exclusively talks from the perspective of cis white male, like men. It doesn't feature any, like, people, like, with uteruses. Doesn't feature any non-binary people or women or, like, trans men. Anyone that, like... that they could do that has an outsider voice that they could maybe, you know, spice their propaganda film a little up. But no, it's just like, we will take your choice away.
Yeah, there's literally a scene where a woman is going to get an abortion and her family is waiting for her outside of the fence. And they put the, like, you're supposed to sympathize with the mother who's crying outside of the fence as opposed to the woman who's, like, having to deal with her crazy-ass family who's just harassing her as she's trying to do this. And it's like, why are you guys doing this?
And it's like, abortion is a traumatic event. It is, there is something inside you.
Yeah.
And it is something that will, like, it's...
I think it can be. I think, obviously, it's a case to case. Like, some people don't feel that way at all.
Like, and that's fine, too. But it's just so, it's just like, cool. Here's these people harassing someone on what could be their worst day of their fucking life. Because they're making a decision that's so hard for them, because, or maybe it's not hard, but they're, you know, a lot of people, it is very hard for them to make this decision. And it's like, cool, but then let's ruin their life.
At the same time, wants to show them all as peaceful, like, can we just pray over the babies, or let's have,
can we pray over the fucking, and
it's just like, that's, nah, y'all are more like that guy at the beginning who's screaming at that woman coming out of her car, like, hey! Get back here! I got stuff I want to say to you.
He's the perfect analogy for like this movie, like,
and this movie dips its toes into the counter. Like, there's just that random point where guy goes postal and shoots an abortion guy at the clerk or church, and then they never really dive into like anything about that. It's just like, well, get out of that profession, and you'll be fine. So,
it's
you
literally
don't have any other commentaries
like,
to make?
Maybe you shouldn't be doing this. It's like, it's just fucking brutal. I like it. It actively makes me want to like punch something. I hate this movie so much.
No, this movie's bad, and it's like a window into the mindset of like a decent chunk of this country, and like obviously not the majority, because I mean the polls show that like. I think more people stand on the pro-choice side, even if they don't agree with abortion in concept, which, I mean, more power to those people, but it's just like, I don't know. And this just hits a lot harder now, because, like, the goal that these, like, fucking, this propaganda is building to throughout this movie has now happened in real life. Like, the characters in this movie are celebrating.
Yeah, they're celebrating the abortion, the Planned Parenthood closing, like, and it's like, that's not something to celebrate, because even if you, and they make the point of that in the movie, that even if you are anti-abortion, Planned Parenthood has low cost to free things that help, like, people that are experiencing pregnancy, or people that don't want to experience pregnancy.
It's not even just about, like, abortions and pregnancy. It's about, like, sexual health in general, like STDs.
Yeah, there's so much... STIs.
I don't know what the proper term is.
I think it's STIs.
Not that I really think that one matters a whole lot. But, it's just like... Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of reasons why Planned Parenthood is, like, important to have in our society. But no, they celebrate when it closed down. It's like, all right. Forget about all the fucking, like, teenage girls who might fucking not want to be a mother yet. Heaven forbid they fucking had sex at that age. Doesn't mean they should be fucking forced to give up their life because of it. I mean, it's just, like, shit like that. Any medical procedures, like, let's say, like, something goes wrong with the fucking mother, like, you know... And she
just
can't.
In general, you cannot.
It'll bring her harm if she keeps with the pregnancy. Nothing like that. Obviously, like there's a ton of examples as to like reason why abortions are necessary, and also just some people don't want fucking babies, and that's okay. That's totally their fucking choice.
I don't really feel like I can look outside and go, yeah, I want to bring a child into this world.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you, and some people do, and if that's their fucking prerogative and they want to fucking have 20 kids, heaven forbid, but they can. No one's stopping them. But heaven forbid somebody doesn't want to have one.
Then we're going to stop them.
Yeah. Honestly, we should. I don't... Never mind. I'm going to walk back that. Where I was going with that. Not going to make any bold statements on the internet today.
But yeah, I think Abby Johnson is a horrible person, but also as a character in this is just despicable.
I know little about the person. As the character in this movie, though, fucking...
She's a pushover in her ideals, like, at the beginning, and then she
lies.
She
lies. There's that scene where that, teenage girl fucking is, like, basically, like, hemorrhaging out, and her boss goes, like, go let the father know she'll be alright. She says, go let her know that, like, the situation's under control, and she just goes out and lies.
And she's fine.
Yeah.
And they make that woman out to be like a monster, because she's like, we need more abortions.
I mean, but the way that they play her, she is, like, a super villain in this movie, but it's like...
But it's so... I don't know how anyone with any media literacy can watch this and be like, that's a real thing a real person would say.
Yeah.
They're not going to say... The abortions are our sodas and fries. Because they have a seminar where she's like, we need to have double the abortions this year.
Hey.
And they're like, hey. Abby's like, no, we can't do that. She pulls her aside. You're like, you're sabotaging me. She goes, Abby, do you know that fast food joints barely scrape even on their burgers? Do you know where all their profit comes from? The burgers and the fries. That's what abortions are. And it's just so fucking stupid and disgusting.
And it's like, they tried, in that same scene, they tried to criticize Planned Parenthood for being a non-profit organization for tax exemption. And it's like, excuse me, this is a pure
the fuck is film. A church?
Yeah, you guys have no fucking room to judge on that front. Don't even get me started. Tax the churches, everyone. I don't care what your stance is on that. Tax the churches. But yeah, fucking yikes. Let's see. What else? There's something else I wanted to say about that scene where her boss is chewing her out, but I can't think of what it was. Oh yeah, no, that scene came like dangerously close for Christian propaganda movie at being like almost having some anti-capitalist sentiment there, but only when it comes to Planned Parenthood.
Only when it comes to things that help women?
Yeah.
Things that help people with vaginas? Yeah. Also, I hate her husband so much in this movie.
Yeah, he's just as big of a fucking ideological pushover as she is.
Yeah.
I love her because she's attractive, but I fucking hate her
I'm like,
line
what
of
the...
work.
And he's like, but he's like praying that she'll get better. It just...
Yeah.
It makes me want to throw up. This whole movie makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, and it's just like... this whole movie is just fucking gross, because it's like...
Then I was reading some, kind of investigative journalism after this about Abby Johnson. And it's like, I guess you can't prove it, but they talked to her old coworker who was fired, like, right before she left. And it was like, no, I was fired because we were talking bad about our coworkers. And that's why she was reprimanded. And she was leaving because she was mad at that. And... they were like, oh yeah, the people at Coalition for Life were like, yeah, we can get you like $3,000 per speak if you like move over here. And it's like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Just evil.
What? Grifting? In the Christian community? I've never fucking heard of that before. No, not to isolate it's pretty big everywhere, but still.
But it's just like, everyone involved with this movie I just despise. I guess except for like the child in it, like their kid.
Yeah,
like, they're children. They don't really have choices.
Indoctrinated.
I don't want to act in this PureFlix movie, mother.
I don't know if I politically align with what this movie's trying to represent.
But it's like, it is dangerous because there are people that grow up watching PureFlix movies.
Oh, yeah.
It's horrible.
No.
And they'll use this as examples. They'll be like, you should watch this movie. It's a biography.
Yeah, no. Fucking...
And if you're gonna make a fucking propaganda movie, can you not make it so fucking bad?
Right. No, I feel that.
Like, there are propaganda movies I probably enjoy. But it's just like, it's I guess they have a good camera in this. But it's ugly.
It's like, maybe like some...
It's probably costs...
medium
at least $1.
tier television quality at best.
It looks better than most PureFlix movies, I'll tell you that much. No?
I mean, I haven't indulged myself.
Well, you're going to love it for our next deep dive. Fuck that.
Watch God's Not Dead, the trilogy, and then Unplanned twice more just to round it up to an even 5. No, I almost picked... I wish I had... now with hindsight, I don't know if it's PureFlix, but there's like a Christian movie that had Hayden Christensen in it that I almost picked, but then I went with this one instead. And I wish I had gone with the Hayden Christensen one, especially since I'm in such a Star Wars mood right now, and it would have been perfect.
But yeah, no, honestly, I think this is the worst movie I've watched for screening.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe it's because it's so sensitive of a topic right now, but I think I might like it less than LaQuisha.
Well, I think that this is like the first just straight-up propaganda piece that's so blatant that we watch. And obviously, like, everything's got a little bit of propaganda to a certain extent. That's how fucking media and art works. But when it's, like, purely just propaganda, especially, like, to a cause that I fucking hate, then it's just like, fuck this. But yeah, this movie, you would give it a 1.
Oh yeah, I wish I could give it less. Like, there are movies like superhero movie or epic movie.
Let me tell you, I'm about to give this Screen Weens first certified X.
There. I'm giving it a 0.
No, I'm going to give it a 0 because an X can be a 10 in Roman numerals, and I don't want to confuse people.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm giving it a 0.
Yeah.
It's not... It's fuck you. Fuck you.
And I'm not going to retroactively go back and rate anything else a 0, but this is a fucking 0.
Yeah.
This is just actively harmful, bad, just on all fronts. I mean, I guess...
Like, there are movies that make me sick to my stomach that I enjoy. This make me sick to my stomach that people would make this.
I guess the, like, cinematography and the lighting didn't make me fucking nauseous, but aside from that, it's just, like, everything else is fucking god-awful. Including the soundtrack. It's like a scene where she's, like, cleaning up blood to, like, country music. That was fucking awful. That was bad. Like a little fucking bathroom blood montage.
It's a good bathroom blood montage, though. The one in It.
Yes. Yeah,
that's like goofy.
That one's got some charm.
But yeah, this was actively a rough one for me to watch. Thomas, what are we watching next week? It'll be episode 150. Are we doing a deep dive?
Yeah, we're gonna do a deep dive of sorts.
Okay.
I think it's about time we finally cover some of this on the podcast. So we're gonna watch Solo, A Star Wars Story. We're gonna watch Rogue One, and we're gonna watch the original trilogy.
Okay.
I've watched 2/3 of the original trilogy this week, but I have been watching the 4Ks on Disney Plus, and I've got the fucking demastered on DVD, so I'm probably gonna go back and rewatch them like that. But yeah, I kind of want to rewatch Solo and Rogue One, because now that I'm more acclimated to, like, expanded Star Wars beyond just
you might like it a little
the
more.
6 movies. the 6 movies I grew up with, then I might enjoy them more. I might not.
I don't know, because the last time I watched Star Wars was like 3 years ago.
Did you drop off right after Rise?
Because I rewatched them all, and I was giving them all 10s, and I think I'm finally at the point in my life, I don't think I'm going to give all the Star Wars movies a 10.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I would not either.
Well, definitely not Rise of Skywalker, if we ever watch that.
Rise is, yeah. I'm interested to rewatch all of them. This has been my first time rewatching the original trilogy since probably my freshman year of high school. I had watched the prequel trilogy, I want to say like around the time I was watching Clone Wars when like Rise of Skywalker was coming out, because I was building up to that. And then I jumped the gun and I watched Rise of Skywalker without rewatching the other 2 sequels. And I was like, wow, I don't want to watch Star Wars anymore. And then I stopped, and it makes me sad that all this new expanded canon stuff is like building in that direction, because it's just like...
But it's like, what else? Like, they can't just not do like the...
I mean, if you ask me, I think they could... I mean, I'd be fine with them retconning it, but I know a lot of people wouldn't, because it's like fucking Carrie Fisher's last outing, and I highly doubt they're going to get Harrison Ford back. He's like, what? I only came back because I agreed to get killed. And I only came back that second time because Carrie Fisher died and it felt appropriate. But I highly doubt if they were going to be like, we're going to retcon these and we want you to come back. Because then he'd be like, that would just open the door for the rest of my life for you guys asking me to come back when I don't want to. Because, yeah, that man does not like being in Star Wars, apparently.
But Indiana Jones, he's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, he likes Indy, which I don't blame him.
All right.
Jones is fun when it's not being racist.
It's like, I'm excited to watch Star Wars, but that took so much out of me that I'm just like, yeah, Star Wars, yeah.
Maybe it'll give you a little more energy once you start the first one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the Star. Even if I don't like give them all 10s, I will watch like 10 of the 11 Star Wars movies at any time, pretty much. If someone were to ask me,
oh yeah,
like I will anything but Rise of Skywalker. I'll be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm at that same position, but if you catch me in the right time of year, in the right mood,
can't wait to cover the prequels and be like, these are better than the original trilogy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure I mean,
that'll be a fun episode when we eventually do that.
Yeah, we will eventually do that. There's a lot of things I like about the prequels, and there's a lot of things I don't like about the prequels, and we will talk about them one day. But.
All right, goodbye. I'm gonna go take a nap or something.
Yeah.